Good. Welcome everyone on this beautiful Friday evening. I am so happy to have you here for our Yin Yoga and Yoga Nidra workshop. And I'm just gonna kind of let you know a little bit about who I am if you have never practiced with me before. And then I give you a little bit of an idea of what is going to happen tonight. So my name is Christina, and I am the founder of Yoga Lab in Zurich. And my background are that I'm a yoga teacher, but I'm also a yoga therapist. So today you will also sometimes hear me talk a bit maybe about the brain, about the effects of yin yoga on our nervous system. We're gonna have a look at the breath and how the breath affects our nervous system. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the class itself. So yin yoga, as you probably know, I think most of you told me that you've done it before. Yin yoga is a very slow and quiet practice. And I think like coming from a Western perspective, we often think that slow and quiet means weak or boring. And it really will not be any of such things. So as the name already says it, yin, it comes from the female, so you have yin and yang. The yang kind of yoga is more active, more sweaty, more flowy. It's associated more with fire and strength and the light and day. And then yin is more about the quiet, the going inwards, the female aspect of our being. And whenever I say feminine or female, it doesn't mean man and woman. It just is this kind of like duality energies that we are talking about in our present world. And so what I find in my practice, whenever you do yin, is that you can feel it. You can feel how we're coming from this very active, male-dominated, rational world where we're thinking, we do everything with our head. There's always doing, and then suddenly you're invited to become still and to draw your focus inwards. And maybe if you practice this for the first time, you might notice that there is some resistance within us. It's not that easy to just sit with your thoughts and be present. It's not something that we are very good at usually. But over time, you will find that your mind is starting to slow down, to calm down, and you're starting to draw that focus inwards. And I am a big believer that there is so much wisdom within our bodies. And it's not something that we normally learn. It's not something you learn at school. We don't have a class, listen to your body, listen to the wisdom of your body. And that's why we're practicing yoga. And so, as I said, yin yoga is more slow. We're gonna hold long stretches, like stretching poses for a prolonged period of time, between 2 and 4 minutes, depending on the pose. And what this does is it really helps to release any tension within the different systems, within the muscles, within the fascia, the myofascial system. It starts to activate the different meridians, the energy points along the body. And it just helps to let go of that deep held tension that we usually have coming from the way we live right now. You know, we're often being seated, we might feel a little bit stressed. And so that is kind of like what we want to counteract. And then the Yoga Nidra part is a meditation that I will talk about a little bit more once we get to it. And the focus of today's class is kind of twofold. So there's 2 areas of our bodies that I would love to work on. And the first one is kind of like the shoulder heart space, especially because, you know, there is a lot of stress right now. There's a lot of insecurity. So a lot of us do this a lot, and we're also sitting like this a lot. So there's a lot of closing down or closing up, and we want to come back into this opening. And then the second area is the hip area. And you've probably heard that before, that we're holding a lot of emotions within our hips. And that is true mentally or like on a metaphysical level. that we're storing a lot of tension there. And you will see, like, once you're starting to free the hip, it can also happen that you become a little bit emotional, you know, that you might feel emotions coming up that you were not aware that you were holding. And this is also true on a physical level, on an anatomical level, because the hips have this one muscle that's called the psoas muscle. And the psoas muscle comes from the back, it goes through the hip, and then it attaches to the front of the thigh. And this muscle is active whenever we feel stressed, because in not medieval time, even before, during like the Stone Age, when we were like just hunters and gatherers, whenever we would feel stressed, it was usually because there was danger. And then there would be a signal to our body that we need to run, to fight or to flight, right, to flee. And what would happen is that that muscle, that psoas muscle, would get activated and it would start lifting, activating your legs so that we can fight or run. And nowadays, obviously, you know, you cannot run away from a meeting. Even if you feel stressed, you cannot run away from a test or whatever it is that makes you feel stressed. But that muscle still starts activating. It's still like ready to go. And because we don't act on it, it then often happens that there's a lot of tension building up. And then the second layer that goes into this is the fascia, the myofascial tissue. And so for those of you who don't know what fascia is, it is kind of like a web-like structure, a tissue that goes throughout the whole body, connects all the muscles, it connects the muscles and the tendons. It goes through the body. And what research shows more and more is that a lot of our emotional reaction is stored in that myofascial tissue. So if you're feeling stressed, it reacts on the fascia level because the fascia then becomes very tense and kind of like dry. And then once you start to stretch it and to release, it becomes smooth again. And that's why afterwards we always feel so good when we did those stretches. And so that's a little bit about why we do this yin practice. And so before we're gonna start with the practice itself, I find it very important to kind of have everyone on the same basis when it comes to breath. Because the breath will be your best friend, and it's the easiest and most effective way on calming down your nervous system. As you know, like we have different systems within our body. You know, we have the musculoskeletal system, we have the endocrine system where the hormones are released, we have the blood circulation. There's different systems that are all working to make us feel healthy and good. But we can not really control those, right? Like you cannot just control your digestive system or your immune system. That's not consciously controllable. But what is controllable is your breath. And once you control your breath, it will immediately have an effect on your nervous system. And so I'm not going to make a whole lecture about it, but I just want you to know why the breath is so important. So we have two nerve systems, the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is when we're kind of stressed. It's this kind of fight or flight. It's this active mode. You know, it's like where we want to go. It's where the muscles release sugar. They're ready to go. And in that system, when that system is active, usually then our digestive system or immune system will be suppressed. And that's because, you know, if you're running away from a tiger, you don't need to digest lunch. That's very irrelevant at that point. And so your body suppresses it. And then when we're relaxed and at peace, then the parasympathetic nervous system activates. And in that nervous system, that's where we breathe calmly, we're relaxed. The digestive system, the immune system are working on full drive. That's also why, you know, like a lot of time when you're working and you have like a really stressful period and then you have your holidays, that's why a lot of times then we crash and we get sick because we're coming out of that very stressed sympathetic nervous system into the more relaxed parasympathetic nervous system. And so in our everyday life, again, we're spending more time usually in our sympathetic nervous system, unfortunately. And the way to get out of this, the way to get into the relaxed state is through the breath. Because if you start to breathe slow and steady, this is a signal to your brain that you're feeling safe. You know, if you're at home, you're on your couch, you're feeling good, you're having a hot cup of tea, you're probably not going to breathe like, right? You're breathing very slow, you're relaxed, your muscles are relaxed. And so that's why the breath is so important. And so before we start, I want to teach you Ujjayi breathing. And Ujjayi breathing is kind of the basic yogic breath that you're going to need, not just today, but throughout all of your yoga sessions. And Ujjayi breath means ocean breath because that's a little bit like how it sounds. It sounds like a wave washing to the shore and then flowing back into the ocean. And it's a way to control how long you inhale and how long you exhale. And I will show you in a second how this works. And then we will start with coherent breathing. That's the first step. That means we're going to inhale for as long as we exhale. And then once you feel a bit settled in this, we will try to elongate the exhalation so that we have inhale and then the exhalation is longer than this. And that is kind of like the basic tool that you can use whenever you feel stressed. You just breathe. So how does Ujjayi breath work? And by the way, guys, if you are new to this and you're really not sure what to do, please activate your microphone and let me know. Because sometimes it can feel a bit like strange if you have never done it before. So Ujjayi breath works by you're tightening the throat. And how you do this is kind of like, you know, when you have a mirror and you want to steam it up so you can make a smiley face. It's kind of like, you know, like when you were a kid in the car. That's what you do. See, like try it once, like when you do this, you can feel this activation here in the throat. And then the next step is that you're closing the lips. So it's like, and then you could also inhale the same way. Like, is that clear? So it's this like sound, but with your lips closed. And what's really important is, see how my neck and my shoulders, I might come a little bit closer just so you surely see it. They're relaxed. It's not like, that's not what we do. That's not very relaxing. It's really relaxed here. And then we're like, and you're starting to expand the rib cage, and then you're gonna come back. Is it clear for everyone how to do this? Otherwise, you can also write it in the chat if you're not sure. Don't be like my dad. My dad went into a yoga class for 2 years and had no idea how to do Ujjayi. He thought it was just normal breathing. And it really is not. It's like you're gonna be your best friend, because that kind of breath is also when you're in a deep stretch. That's the breath you wanna use. So you can breathe into the area that is being stretched. And so we're gonna start with that Ujjayi breathing. And we're going to start in a coherent way, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And I'm going to count for you. And then we're going to elongate it a little bit. So for the start, just come into a comfortable seated position. If you like, you can also sit on a block or on a blanket or on a pillow. What you want is that your spine is long and your shoulders and face are relaxed. And then, you know, just on your own, you're just starting to take a few deep breaths in, just normal breaths. Doesn't have to be anything dramatic. We're just allowing ourselves to arrive. You know, maybe you came from the outside, maybe you just finished working. So give yourself a moment to arrive. Feel the sitting bones pressing into the floor. Make sure your head is comfortably leveled on the top of the spine, that there is no tension there. And then just take a normal deep breath in through the nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Inhaling in through the nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Good. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then from there, we're starting with our Ujjayi breath. So we're going to inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 1, 2. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 1, 2. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2. Exhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 1, 2. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. And then with your eyes still closed, just take a normal deep breath in through the nose and lift your arms over your head. And exhale, bring your hands in front of the heart. Exhale through the mouth. Good. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you doing? Was that easy? Was that difficult? Was that maybe a little bit unusual? And then once you're ready, you open your eyes. Was that okay for everyone? Yeah? Okay. So now we're gonna elongate the exhalation. If you feel adventurous and you want to feel like, yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit towards the edge, you're gonna inhale for 5 seconds, hold it for 2, exhale for 10. But if you find that it's too intense, you can exhale for 8. So see a little bit like how much you can do. If you're very new to it, you might want to start with 8. Otherwise, we're gonna exhale to 10. If you feel like, oh, I just need to have like a deep breath in, absolutely fine. You just then come back into the rhythm. And we're gonna do a few rounds of this breath. So again, find your way back into comfortable seated position. And then we're gonna start a few rounds of Ujjayi breath. So again, take a normal deep breath in through the nose. Exhale one more time through the mouth. Good, and inhale for Ujjayi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhale for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhaling 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from here again, take another deep breath in through the nose, lifting your arms again over your head. And exhaling, bring the hands in front of the heart. Good. And then from here, slowly open your eyes again. So that is the breath that you can use throughout today's practice. And maybe you've already found that like just breathing and concentrating on the tempo of the breath is this very lovely, calming practice. And so from here, we're slowly gonna start with our first pose. Now I give you 2 poses in case you don't have a block or a pillow at home. I don't think that's the case, but in case it is. So should you have no props at home, or if that is just like the pose you want to do, you can start with butterfly on the floor, where you're just lying on the back, you're letting your arms sink to the side, and as you can see, the feet are together and the knees come to the side. That's the first variation. The second one is if you have a prop, so a pillow or a block or a book, we're gonna come into a bit of a heart opener. So you can place your block and your blanket onto the floor, and then from here you're placing the block in the shoulder area level, and then you're letting your head sink towards the floor, and you can bring your arms out to the side. And if you find that this is too intense, you know, you can even have a pillow underneath your head or a second block underneath your head. So give yourself a moment to come into the pose that you prefer. If you like, have a blanket over your body. See which variation you want to do, either lying down butterfly with your knees to the side and your arms in cactus, or having a heart opener with the pillow or block underneath the chest. And then whichever pose you chose, take a moment to arrive. Finding your way into breathing. Draw the focus back to the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. If you can, start to breathe in Ujjayi, allowing yourself to sink into this new shape. Feel your belly rise whenever you inhale and sink whenever you exhale. Allowing yourself to relax with every exhalation. We are just at the beginning of our Yin Yoga journey. And every journey is full of promises, but there is also obstacles along the way. And you might find that an obstacle can be the thoughts that are jumping in your mind. There might be resistance within your body. Maybe you find it is quite challenging to settle. And all of these things, they can happen. And it's not always in our control to make them disappear. But what we can do is we can notice them. Just very judgment-free notice them. And then from there we just draw our awareness back to the breath. Another practice that I love to do, and that might help you during this class as well, is I love to work with specific breath mantras. So one breath mantra that I love to use is I'm inhaling space and I'm exhaling tension. I'm inhaling space and exhale, I'm letting go. Inhaling space. Exhale, letting go. You're allowing yourself to relax into this shape. You're relaxing the forehead and the part around the eyes. Relaxing the cheeks and the jaw, the neck and the shoulder area. Relaxing the upper back, the middle back, and the lower back. You're relaxing your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, and your hands. You're relaxing the chest, the belly, the hips, the thighs, the knees and the calves, the shins, the ankles, and the feet. Your whole body is starting to relax. Your whole body is starting to relax. Your whole body relaxes. You have 1 more minute. And then slowly, slowly, we're gonna come out of the pose. If you're in butterflies, or if your knees are apart, gently, gently bring the knees together and slowly lengthen the legs. And then from here, just bring your hands, everyone, onto the floor, and we're just gently starting to lift up into a seated position. Slow movements, we're not in a hurry. And from there, we're gonna come into diamond shape. So we're gonna have the knees out and the feet extended. If you feel like you wanna have more of a hip stretch, you can bring the feet further back into butterfly, but that might be a bit intense for some of you. So you will be able to modify this pose by either bringing the feet closer towards the hips, which makes it more stretchy, or a bit further away. If you like, you can even use your block and have it on the feet and let your head rest. Otherwise, just let your hands come forward and allow yourself to rest in this forward fold. So just gently allow yourself to sink forward, letting your head rest. Whichever pose you want to try, whichever pose you feel comfortable with. If you feel quite flexible in diamond, you might even want to bring your hands underneath the calves and have your lower arms on the floor so that the shins are on top of your lower arms. But that's an optional version. And from here, just allow yourself again to rest. We're going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. And you might find that there is certain areas that feel a bit more like a pull, or there is tension. And that's normal. You know, it is Friday after all, so we just had a week of work behind us. And now we're allowing ourselves to sink deeper and deeper, focusing inwards. So if you notice a stretch or some tension holding you back, guide your breath towards that part of the body.
Use your Ujjayi breath to consciously relax that area that is being tense, that needs a little bit more release. Again, we have 90 more seconds. If you notice your thoughts jumping around, just bring them back to the present. Twenty more seconds. And then from here, very, very slowly, start to lift back up. Take your time. If you like, you can keep your eyes closed for a moment, just stretching out the legs. Sorry guys, like there's someone banging the doors. I don't know whether you can hear it. Just releasing the legs, releasing the feet. Good. So the next pose that we're coming in to will be relaxing the hips. So it's a big hip opener. And it's also a really nice release for your lower back. So how are we going to do this? Is we're going to bring the left leg parallel to the short side of your mat. And then you're placing the right shin on top. Now, if your leg looks something like this, and it really, like for you, it feels very blocky or like it just doesn't feel good, what you can do as an alternative is you bring your right foot or right leg in front. So it's not really like cross-legged where your knees draw inwards. You want to try to keep that parallel version. But if you have your foot in front, that should be okay for everyone. Again, like if you feel like there's really a pose that you cannot go into, please, please, please let me know. But otherwise, have your left shin on the floor, your right shin on top. Again, if you like, you can use your block in front of you. You can use a pillow. And then from here, we're just going to lift up. We're going to draw the chest up. And then we're starting to walk our hands forward. We're starting to lean forward. And we're going to let our head again relax. That's where you can bring your block or your pillow in if you feel like you need a bit of support. Otherwise, you're just letting your head hang. We're going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. And you probably feel a nice stretch in the right buttock. So especially if you've been seated all week, this is a really lovely pose to start releasing any tension there. We're just allowing ourselves to breathe again. Make sure your eyes are closed so that you can draw inwards. Letting the everyday world slowly disappear. If you find you need to readjust the pose, take the time to do so. And then always also check in with your shoulders and your neck, whether your head is really relaxed. Sometimes we think we are, but then once we check, we find that there is a little bit of rest tension. So allow your neck and your shoulders to fully relax. we're slowly softening. And throughout this journey, you might start to find that what is so alluring about this practice is while the outside world with all its distractions can be interesting, it is also finite. Whereas the inside world is eternal. It's everlasting. There is no boundaries, no borders to the inner aspects of yourselves. Good. 30 more seconds in this pose. Make sure your neck stays relaxed. And just know that if you like, if when we changed position, you're always welcome to keep your eyes closed. Good. So slowly, slowly start to come back up. Bring your hands back towards your hips very, very slowly. We're gonna take our time. We're consciously moving. Every move is conscious. We're just gonna release the legs. Sorry, my floor is a little bit old, so sometimes you will hear the floor making funny noises. And then from here, we're just gonna go the other way around. So we're gonna bring the right shin parallel to the floor or to the mat, and then the left shin on top. Again, if you find that this is too intense, just place your left shin in front. Check again whether you can see that angle so that the knees are not pointing inwards, they're really on top of one another. And then we're gonna lengthen the back and maybe already find, ooh, there is a juicy little stretch coming just from this pose. And then from there, we're gonna start leaning forward. So for me, I don't know why, but this side feels much more intense than the right. And maybe that's the same for you today, or maybe you feel like, no, this one is easier or about the same. Again, if you feel like you need support, have your block. Allow yourself to relax your shoulders and the face. Use your Ujjayi breath. If you find that this posture or this practice is intense as well, you might again just want to use your mantras. Inhaling space. Exhaling release. And maybe you find that at the beginning you went a bit too deep into the pose, and you can always readjust and come out. Or maybe you find that after a while you can sink deeper, that the stretch is starting to relax, to release. Again, we have 90 more seconds to go. Whatever thoughts that come up, notice them and then let them go. Bring your awareness back to the here and now. And you know, if you ever feel like that there might be frustration coming up, that's also valid. You know, we should never feel guilty for emotions that come up. But what the practice is helping us with is that we won't get swept away by them, but instead we learn to stay at peace and present, even if there is a challenging pose. Good, and then from here, slowly, slowly start to come back up. Take your time. Good. And again, give yourself a moment to release the legs. Maybe you want to shake out the feet a little bit, stretching out the toes. And then from here, we're gonna come into a side opener. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on the right. We're gonna bend the right knee, and then if you can, place your left knee on top. If that is too intense, you can place the foot either on the outside of the right knee or even on the inside if you feel very, very tight in your hip. If you need a bit of support, have your block or your bolster or your pillow on the right side. If you want to go deeper, you don't need any props. And then we're going to place the right hand on the floor. We're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to bring the left arm up and exhale. We're slowly starting to let the left arm sink towards the right. If you have the flexibility, as I said, you can bring the right lower arm all the way to the floor. If that is too deep, you can have it on a block. And then let your head hang as well. So you want to have your right ear at the right shoulder. And make sure that your left shoulder stays relaxed. So it's not like you're not pulling, you're just breathing into this area here, into this rib cage area. And you imagine that whenever you exhale, there's a little bit more space coming from there. There's a little bit of a relaxation happening. Really try to have your elbows lift up towards the ceiling, so it's not going to come down. You want to have it above your head. Check in again whether your right ear is truly at your right shoulder. And then something that I always like to advise, and I know that it sounds cheesy, but if you smile a little, it also helps to reduce tension in your body. We're gonna hold this here for another minute. Good, 30 more seconds, we're almost done. See if you can breathe even more into the left side, relaxing the neck. Good, and then a little trick from my side to not exert the left side of your neck. You can just hold your head with your left hand and then just gently, gently draw the head back up while you're coming back into seated position. Good. See, this way you don't have to lift and then your muscles have to do all the work since our head is quite heavy. Good. And again, we're just going to release. Take a few breaths here. And then whenever you feel ready, we're gonna change sides. We're gonna bring the left knee down and the right knee on top. If you feel like you would like to have some props, use your props. but you don't have to. You can have your arm on the floor. That's always up to you. Again, like not every side is the same, so you might find that one side needs props and the other doesn't. And then extend your left arm out, take a deep breath in. And with your exhalation, slowly start to lean over towards the left side. Let your left ear again sink towards the floor. Keep your right shoulder relaxed. So there should be no tension in your shoulder region. The length comes from the side body. So here we're stretching out the rib cage, the armpits, the hips. And of course the neck. So just allow yourself to arrive in this shape. You might notice changes happening throughout. Sometimes we also can feel this like, whew, and then we start to release. When our muscles allow themselves to relax. Check in with your breath again. Is your breath steady and slow, steady and smooth? Can you use your Ujjayi breath? Do you maybe need again our mantra, inhaling space and length? Exhale, relax and surrender. Making sure your head is relaxed. Feeling that stretch on the side body. Good. We're staying here for 40 more seconds. Good, and then bring again your right hand underneath your head and help your head being pulled up very, very slowly. Good. Good. Allow your knees to relax. And just because this was quite intense and you might have felt it also a bit on the spine, we're just going to roll out the upper body, just giving it a moment to release. And so far, yeah, we have worked on both, right? We have started to open up the chest and the heart, and we have started to work on the hips. You can go the other way around. And now we're gonna take a moment to work a little bit more on the upper back and the chest before we then come back down to the hip area. Good. So for the next practice, if you like to have it a little bit more comfortable, have a blanket on the floor. If you don't have a blanket, it's not an issue, but I just find it's sometimes nice to feel a bit more comfortable. Good. And then from here, come on to the front of the pillow with your hands, and we're starting with normal cat and cow, just to release the spine. We're gonna inhale, we look up, and exhale, we're rounding. If you like, close your eyes. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhale. Good, just a few more rounds. If you prefer wild cat and cow, where you're just moving whichever way your body is telling you, that's also an option. throughout this practice, whatever I give you as a guideline is really just that. It's not an order, it's a guideline. And if you feel like your body actually has some wisdom to share with you and you find that there's another motion coming up within you, then just follow it and see where it takes you. Good. And then from here, we're going to start with thread to needle pose. So we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to bring the right arm up. Lift the right arm up towards the sky, opening the chest. And then exhale. Draw your right hand underneath your left shoulder. Make sure your right shoulder stays on the blanket if you have one. Otherwise, there is no point in having the blanket. And then extend the left arm forward. And then allow your right shoulder to relax. Allow your upper back and your chest to sink towards the floor. In this pose, we're getting a lovely stretch in the right shoulder area. Wait, I'm just gonna take the mic out so you hear me better. So there's a stretch on the right shoulder, right deltoid area. There's also a release in tension in the upper back, as well as a stretch on the left outer side of the body from your hand along the arm and your armpits all the way down to the hip. Make sure your neck is relaxed, your face is relaxed. Again, find your way back to the breath. Little by little, you're letting go of any tension. You can feel the Ujjayi breath, like the ocean waves washing to the shore. What is happening within you? Is this pose a challenge or is it very easy? And how is your emotional reaction to that pose, to that shape? You can either stay in this variation, or if you prefer to have one more minute in a second variation, you can bring your left hand behind your hip, behind your back onto the right hip for one more minute. This is an optional version. If you prefer the arm extended, then that's just all right as well. Are you having a little smile? Are you enjoying the miracle that is your body? Because it truly is a miracle. All the different systems that have to work. Imagine all the billions and billions of things that had to go right for you to be here at this very moment. All the billions and trillions of cells that are working tirelessly for you. And maybe you feel a gentle love for your body coming up. That magical creation, so complex, so beautiful. Always there for us, supporting us throughout our lifetime. Good. 20 more seconds. Good, and then very, very slowly bring your left hand back onto the floor. Take your time here. Slowly, slowly starting to come back up. And you might, I'm gonna put the mic back on. You might find that this is quite an intense sensation on your right side. So give yourself some time. If you like, you can also roll out the shoulders a little bit. We were in this pose for quite a while. And then whenever you feel like you're ready, slowly come back onto all fours, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So again, take a deep breath in, bring your left arm up, and exhale. Place your left hand underneath the right. And let your head relax on the floor. Have your right arm extended. Your knees are underneath your hips. Make sure your neck is relaxed. If you need some support underneath your head, place the blanket there. And then again, just give yourself the time to relax that left shoulder that is being on the floor. And then guide your breath to your upper back. So here we have different forces, right? We're having kind of almost a little back bend for the upper back, but at the same time, there's also a twist. So if you're very tight in that area, you might feel quite a lot of resistance within your body to let go. And this practice is not about forcing anything. This practice is about flowing. And that flow can be achieved through the breath. So guide your breath towards that upper back. Inhaling space. Exhaling release. Inhaling space. Exhaling release. Inhaling space. Exhale, letting go. Noticing the ground underneath your body. Feel the breath flowing in and out. And again, you can either stay in this variation, or if you would like to have the second part of this pose in the second variation, just bring your right hand behind your back and then place it on top of the left hip. Make sure your neck stays relaxed. Softening more and more. We're going to hold it again for 30 more seconds. See if you can relax your left shoulder one more time, relaxing your neck. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And then whenever you feel ready, very, very slowly, bring your right hand back. And very gently start to come back up. You can either be on all fours and just move your shoulders here, or you might want to sit back onto your hips and roll out your back and your shoulders there. Whichever version you prefer. You might also like to roll out your head, see what kind of movement comes up naturally towards you. We just want to give ourselves a moment to stretch out, to release. Good. And then from here, we're coming back onto all fours. And we're gonna come up into a downward facing dog. So we're gonna tuck under the toes, and this down dog is very gentle. Have your knees bent, stretch out your legs very gently. It's nothing too intense. If you feel like, I'm feeling really tight in my legs, give yourself the chance to bend the knees, just stretching out the back. Maybe shake your head from side to side. And then from here, we're slowly coming forward into a plank, and we're lowering the knees down to the floor. Good. And from here, we're going to come into a Sphinx pose, and we're going to hold this for 3 minutes. If you like, have a blanket underneath your lower arms so that you're having a bit of support for your lower arms. You can also have a block here to let your head relax if that is something that you find more comfortable. If you find like it's really intense, push a little bit away and forward. Here the goal is to relax our spine and drawing the chest forward. Really like, see how I'm doing this here, like letting the spine relax rather than holding tension. And we're gonna hold it for 3 minutes. So find your way into your pigeon, sorry, not pigeon, into your Sphinx, sorry. If you like, as I said, have your props ready to support you. This is a gentle back bend. It's a heart opening pose. So we're allowing the heart to open, to let in some light, some breath. And as I said, it's not like yin is not always just easy. This is not a practice that is always comfortable. And you might find that if you're holding this pose for a longer period of time, that there is quite some resistance. There is quite a bit of us that does not like to hold it for such a long time, or to bend the back. And again, you know, those thoughts, they can just come up. We cannot do anything about the thoughts arising. But we can decide how we want to react. And there is a beautiful saying in neuroscience. Your thoughts are real, but they are not true. Your thoughts are real, but not true. And what this means is, yes, you are having those thoughts, and yes, You're experiencing your experience. But your mind will give you thoughts that are not necessarily depicting reality. Your mind might say, this is too hard, or I cannot do this, or I need to get out. But that's not really the truth. You can hold it. You can stay present in challenging poses. You can use your breath to relax more and more. And maybe you just want to exhale those thoughts, letting them go. Allowing yourself to melt. Becoming softer, 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 softer. We have 30 more seconds to go. Good. Now to come out, I like to go down first because we had quite a back bend. So let your elbows come away from underneath the shoulders. And then from here, very, very gently push back. Open the knees towards the sides. I'm showing this from the front, like have your knees apart. And then come into a wide-legged child's pose. So let your head sink onto the floor. Again, if you like to have a bit of a shoulder opener, you can do a second version where you take your block in front and have your arms on top and let your head sink onto the floor. So I'm showing this again from the side as well. If that's an optional version. If you feel like that is a version you would enjoy, make sure your hips come back towards the heels for as much as possible. And then let your head relax and feel that lovely stretch around your upper back, middle back, lower back, and hips. In case you cannot do child's pose, some of us cannot do child's pose. I think most of the practitioners today can, but should you feel unable to do so, come back into diamond shape. It's where the knees are apart and your feet are in front of you. How are you right now? Are you allowing yourself to relax? Do you have a smile for your efforts and your body? Knowing that you're doing really well. Let yourself sink deeper. Letting go of any tension. Slowly softening. Good. And then from here, very, very slowly start to come back. Take your time, move as slow and consciously as you can. Good, coming back up. All right. Okay. So from here, we're gonna come towards another shoulder and heart opener. And then from there, we will go into another hip opener. Here, I invite you to have your blanket, just so that you have a bit of a cushioning for the head and the shoulder. And I might just show you how we're going into the next pose, and then we're gonna do it together, just so that you know what to prepare for. So in this pose, we're gonna lie down onto the belly, and then we're gonna start on the right side. So we're gonna bring the right arm out to the floor with the palm facing down, and your left hand is underneath your left shoulder. And then from there, you're gonna roll towards the right side. You bring your right knee in front of you so that it's parallel to the navel. And then your left knee looks upwards towards the sky. You're letting your head relax. And your left hand is either in front of you so that you can kind of like stir a little bit, like how deep you want to go. If you lean more forward, it's less intense. If you steer a bit more backwards, it's more intense. If you want to have one more intensity step further, you're going to bring your left hand behind your back. So like this is how it looks from the side. Like this. Good. Let's go into this together. I'm going to guide you through it again. I'm going to hold this pose again for 3 minutes on either side. So lie down onto your belly. Bring your right arm out to the side. Right hand is on the floor. Left hand is underneath your left shoulder. And then gently start to roll towards the right. Bring your right knee in front of you so that it's on the level of your belly button. Put your left foot onto the floor so that your knee looks up towards the ceiling. Let your head relax. And then you can decide whether you want to have your left hand on the floor in front of you or behind your back for a little bit of a more intense variation. Make sure your right hand is on the level of your shoulder. And then just allow yourself to relax here. So this is a beautiful pose to open and stretch the chest. We're stretching the pectoralis major, the big chest muscle. We're increasing shoulder mobility. We're having a gentle twist in the upper back. Make sure your shoulders and your neck, as well as your face, are relaxed. Smooth on the breath. Inhaling space. Exhaling release. Inhaling space. Exhale, release. I am allowing myself to relax, to be present, to be me. Good, we have 1 more minute. See if there is any more muscles you need to relax. Use your Ujjayi breath to soften the areas that are resisting. Remember, you can also control the pose by leaning your left shoulder either further forward or backwards. Good, we're almost done. Take one more deep breath here. And then from here, slowly lengthen the right leg. Bring your left hand down and then very, very slowly take your time. This is intense for the shoulders. Slowly roll onto your belly. Bring your hands in front of you and then let your head rest on top of your hands. Giving your right shoulder the time that it needs to relax. Letting the blood flow back to that joint. Fresh oxygen into the fascia structure. You know, that's the nice thing about these kind of stretches. They bring more oxygen and more water to the myofascial structure, and that's how it becomes smooth again from this dry state that it was and shortened state that it was when you're stressed to this softer, more fluid state once you stretch. And then from here, we're gonna come to the other side. So this time we're gonna bring the left arm to the left side. Again, make sure your hand is on shoulder level, not below. Bring your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Gently start to roll towards the left. Bring your left knee in front of you, so on the level of your belly button. Bring your right foot behind the left leg with your right knee pointing up. And then let your head relax. You can either again have your right hand in front of you or behind your back, depending on how deep you want to experience this stretch. And we're going to hold it again for 3 minutes. And remember to be kind to yourself. So if you feel like this is really, really too much, soften it. This is a pose that I used to find really difficult in the beginning because my shoulders were just so incredibly tight and tense. And now it's one of my absolute favorites. I just love, love, love this pose. And that is how it often happens, I find in this practice, that poses that challenge us are actually the poses that offer the most growth, both on a physical level, but also on a mental level. So whether you love this pose or whether you find that it gives you a bit of a challenge, make sure your neck and shoulders are relaxed, your face is soft, your breath is deep, knowing that you're doing amazing. You're doing really, really well right now. "90 more seconds, just half time." How is your breath? Are you still breathing slowly in your Ujjayi breath? Are you allowing yourself to exhale all the tension that no longer serves you? We're almost done. 30 more seconds.
Maybe have a little smile. I always find that smiling really allows our muscles to relax, not just in the face, but generally. Because we rarely, like, you don't smile and hold your breath. That's not a thing. So when you smile, you breathe. And if you breathe, you relax. And if you relax, well, then you're already halfway there. Good. And then from here, slowly, slowly release. Bring your right hand back and gently roll onto your belly. And again, give yourself a moment. Oh, okay, my camera just turned off, so I will change the battery. Let your head rest on your hand. And then give you good. So give yourself a moment more just to relax the shoulders. Good. And then from here, very, very slowly start to come back up onto your knees. Good. And again, just give yourself a moment to roll those shoulders out. And no, it is intense. It's not like, it's not just a soft practice. Good. And so from here, where we're gonna go next is we're gonna go into a hip opener that's called the frog pose. And if you have it, like try to have a blanket with you. And let me see whether I'll show it to you from the side or from the front. I'll show it to you from both sides. So the frog pose, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the knees out to the side and the hips down to the floor. And so we're opening up the hip area. Wait. Guys, can you hear like the noise in the background or is it okay? Can you just like, is it okay? Okay, good. Sorry, my kid is playing. Good. So how to go on from here? You wanna be on your mat so that your knees are out to the side as far as possible. Good. And then if you have your blanket, so I have this double mat, but if you have a blanket in front of you, you can now lean onto your blanket with your lower arms. And then from there, you're just gonna slide forward until your hips are on the floor, until your belly is on the floor. And I'll show this again from the side. So your hips, your belly is on the floor. And then see how my feet are still in the air. You bring your feet together, you let your head rest, and then you're letting your feet start to come down towards the floor. I'm going to show this again from the side in case you're not sure on what to do. But either way, you should get a really nice stretch in your hips. So have your blanket on the front of you. Knees come as far apart as possible. Lean with your lower arms onto the blanket. Let yourself slide down. So belly is on the floor, hips are on the floor. Hips are not in the air, huh? They're on the floor. Allow your feet to come together. Let your head rest on your hands. And come in with your feet towards the floor. And see here again, you can kind of control how intense you want to practice this. The more your feet are up in the air, the less intense the pose becomes. The more the feet go down towards the floor, the more intense this pose becomes. And of course, like you can always bring the knees a bit more towards the side. That will also intensify the pose. And then allow yourself to relax. You can close your eyes, you can just use your breath. This pose is a deep hip opener. So we're starting to release all the tension in the hips. Being on your belly like this, just as it did with child's pose, it also gives you a little bit of a massage for the inner organs. And you might find that like slowly, slowly, space is coming in. It's an interesting area to stretch. There's always a part of us that doesn't want to let go.
And that's not a bad thing, you know. If your hips were just like gummy bears and they would just like go whenever you stretch, they would not provide a lot of structure. So if you feel like today it's quite a challenge to stretch the hip, take a moment to thank your hips for helping you to protect your pelvis, your hip joint, your legs, your posture. And then find that your exhalation helps you to relax deeper and deeper and deeper into this shape. You're letting go. We have about 2 more minutes in this pose. Two more minutes of letting go, of relaxing, of letting go completely. What do you find within you? What is happening? What emotions? What kind of sensations do you notice? Knowing that all of them are legitimate, all of them are valid. 40 more seconds. Good. So in order for you to come out of this pose, bring your feet out to the side so you're extending the legs, and then tuck under the toes, and that will give your knees a lift. And then you can just slowly bring your legs back. And from here, slowly come back again into your child's pose. Just very slowly find your way back into child, letting your head relax onto the floor. You can have your arms either extended or next to your body, whichever version of this child pose you prefer. Allowing yourself to relax your neck and your shoulders. Again, letting your hips sink towards the heels. This pose might feel like it's not such an important pose or not such an intense pose. But in fact, this pose is so potent in releasing tension in the lower back, in the hip area, in the middle back, and in the shoulders. If you do child's pose every day, you're never going to have lower back pain or hip issues. And also for a nervous system, this is a pose that is really calming, soft, protected. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Listen to the sound of your breath. Two deep breaths. We're gonna have 1 more minute in this beautiful pose. Good. And from here, very, very gently start to lift back up. How are you? How is everyone? Good. So before we're gonna come to the yin practice, we're gonna have two last poses. We're gonna not hold them for too long, but it's just about relaxing the lower back one more time and giving our psoas a stretch. So if you have your block, use your block. If you have a bolster, you could also use a bolster. It's also optional, like that's possible if you have a bolster at home. Good for you, first of all. And second, you can use the bolster or the block. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lie down onto our back and we're gonna come into a supported shoulder stand. So for supported shoulder stand, you're gonna bring the block underneath your hips. You can decide like how high. I would have it about midway. We're not going crazy today. If you need like something softening, you can even have the blanket over the block. I don't know. I love having like the blanket over the block. And then you're placing the block just underneath your hips, just kind of like where your iliosacral joint is. And then from there, you're slowly lifting your legs up into the air. Like shoulder stand, but supported version. If you know that your neck is quite sensitive, I know some of you have very sensitive necks, and this is still too intense for your neck, what you can do is you can find a wall and just let your legs come up against the wall with your hips just right at the wall. So that's an alternative to the supported shoulder stand. If you like, you can bring your arms over your head, or you can have the hands down on the floor. And then just give yourself a moment to let the blood flow back from your feet towards the heart. Maybe even like to roll out your ankles if you feel the need to move your feet. As always, allow your face and your neck and your shoulders to relax. And just hold it for another 30 seconds. Good. If you're having your legs against the wall, you can just stay there for another few breaths. If you're in shoulder stand and you're really enjoying it and you want to stay here for another few breaths, that's also okay. If you want to stretch the psoas muscle, you know, that's the muscle we talked about at the beginning of the class that is so responsible for our hip tension. What you can do is you're going to bring your right foot down to the floor so that your knee is bent. You have your hands on the floor as well, extended out. And then you just bring a straight right leg towards the floor. And you should feel it on top of your right thigh. You're just going to feel that stretch in the right side. So the left foot is on the floor, left knee is bent, the right leg is straight. And you might even feel it a little bit on the lower part of your belly, just on the inside of like the pelvis area. Good, and then inhale, come back, bring your right foot down to the floor, lift your left leg up, straighten the left leg, and exhale, just lengthen the left leg down towards the floor. And again, you should feel a stretch here in the front. Just stretching out that muscle one more time. So if you're someone who has a lot of lower back issues at home, this is a nice practice to do. If you feel like there's a lot of tension in your lower back, try to do this every day. Good. And then exhale, slowly bring your left foot back. And then from here, lift your hips. Take the block away and then very, very slowly roll your spine down to the floor, gently, gently. And from here, bring your knees into your chest. And then from there, we're slowly, slowly coming towards our Yoga Nidra part of today's class. So remember to move slowly into your meditation pose. You can do one where you're lying on a pillow and your heart is open. You can do a Shavasana pose if you need to take a moment to put on a sweater or socks. Take a moment to do so. Allow yourself to just come into a comfortable position, lying down. Make sure you're going to be warm. And then allow yourself to lie down on the back and close your eyes. So I'm just going to stay seated throughout the practice, but you are welcome to lie down and relax. And then just make sure that you're completely comfortable. If you need to move still a little bit, take a moment to do so. Just see that you can feel completely relaxed in the pose that you are right now. And then allow yourself a few deep breaths in and out. You can feel yourself sink into the mat. And while you're allowing yourself to relax, I invite you on this journey of Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra means yogic sleep. But we're not falling asleep, but instead we're entering a space of complete relaxation and complete awareness. And in this practice, I guide you through your body. It's a journey, it's a scan of your body. And you're learning to become aware of every part of your body in this present moment. And the yogis believe that it is this state of complete relaxation and complete awareness where we are gaining access to our highest potential. And that this is in fact a time and a space where we are able to manifest our dreams, our wishes, creating a life that will bring us happiness and joy. And so at the beginning of a Yoga Nidra journey, we are creating a Sankalpa. A Sankalpa is a positive affirmation, a positive belief that we are using to manifest our dreams. And I've thought about what kind of manifestation I would like to practice for us today. And we're going to practice today to allow ourselves to be at peace and to be happy. And so our Sankalpa today is, I am allowed to be happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to feel at peace. I am allowed to feel happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to feel peace. I am allowed to be happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to feel at peace. And then I invite you to slowly bring your awareness to your right thumb, noticing any sensation in your right thumb. And then go further to your right index finger, your right middle finger, your right ring finger, your right little finger, noticing the sensations in the palm of your right hand and the back of your right hand. Noticing your right wrist and your right lower arm. Feeling the right elbow and the right upper arm. Noticing your right shoulder and your right shoulder blade. Becoming aware of your right rib cage. The right side of the waist. Noticing the right part of the pelvis. The right buttock gently pressing into the floor. Noticing the right thigh and the right knee. The sensations in your right calf and your right shin. Feeling the right ankle, the right heel, the sole of your right foot, the back of your right foot, the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. And then slowly bring your awareness to your left hand. Noticing your left thumb, the left index finger, the left middle finger, the left ring finger, the left little finger, the palm of your left hand, the back of your left hand, noticing the left wrist and the left lower arm, feeling the left elbow and the left upper arm, wandering higher towards your left shoulder and the left shoulder blade, down along the left rib cage and the left side of the waist, following down into the left hip and the left side of the pelvis, going down to your left thigh and your left knee, the left calf and the left shin, down to the left ankle, your left heel, the sole of your left foot, the back of your left foot, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. And from there, slowly guide your awareness upwards towards your pelvis region, feeling the buttock on the ground, noticing the iliosacral joint and the rest of the pelvis lying on the floor. Feeling the whole lower back relaxing on the ground. And then slowly start to wander higher along the spine into your middle back and towards your upper back. Noticing the shoulder blades gently pressing into the ground. Noticing the whole back on the floor. Your whole back is relaxed. Your whole back is relaxed. And from there, bring your awareness into your belly area. Feeling the gentle rise whenever you inhale and how it sinks whenever you're exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then move higher towards your rib cage. And here too, you feel your rib cage expand with every inhalation and contract with every exhalation. From here, moving higher towards your chest area, your heart space. How does your heart space feel right now? And then lifting higher towards your throat and your neck. Up towards the chin and the jaw. Feeling the cheeks, your lower lip and your upper lip. The tongue inside your mouth. You can feel your nose and the gentle streams of air flowing in and out whenever you breathe. You're noticing the cheekbones and your eyes. Feeling the lids on the eyes and the eyes heavy in their sockets. Noticing the bridge of your nose, the eyebrows, the point in between the eyebrows. Feeling the temples, the forehead. Noticing the ears, the back of your head. And the top of your head. Noticing the whole face relax. Noticing the right hand and the left hand. The right foot and the left foot. The right arm and the left arm. The whole right leg and the whole left leg. Noticing the feet, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, the belly, the chest. Noticing the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, the wrists and the hands. Noticing the throat, the neck, the chin, the cheeks, the jaw, the nose, the eyes, the forehead, the ears, the top of your head, and the back of your head. Noticing your whole body relax. Your whole body is relaxed. Feel the flow of your breath deeply, powerfully flowing in and out. I am at peace. I am relaxed. Feel yourself being held by the ground beneath you. Noticing the whole body relax. The whole body is relaxed. Your whole body is relaxed. You are at peace. You are safe. You are calm. And you're taking this sense of peace and relaxation into the coming days and weeks. And then slowly, slowly, you're starting to become aware again of the present. You can feel the ground beneath you and the sounds around you. And in this sense of awokenness, you're going to repeat our Sankalpa one more time. I am allowed to be happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to feel at peace. I am allowed to feel happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to be at peace. I am allowed to feel happy. I am allowed to feel joy. I am allowed to feel at peace. And from there, you're slowly, slowly starting to move your toes and your fingers, gently, gently drawing the senses back to the body, back to the here and now. Maybe roll your head a little bit from side to side. Give yourself time to wake up. And then whenever you feel ready, you're slowly starting to bring your arms up over your head and you're giving yourself a deep, long stretch from head to toes, stretching yourself. And then from here, bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Allowing yourself a moment of gratitude for your body, for this practice, and for yourself for making time. And then whenever you feel ready, slowly, slowly roll over to your favorite side. And from here, with your eyes still closed, find your way back into a seated position. Give yourself time, keep your eyes closed. Allow yourself a moment of still staying with the energy of this class. How are you doing right now? What have you learned in today's class about yourself, your breath, your practice? And we're going to close today's class with one Om. And you're very welcome to chant with me from the safety of your home or to just listen. So take a deep breath in for the nose and exhale out for the mouth. And inhale for Om. And from here, gently bring your hands in front of the heart. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace, peace, peace. I thank you so much for joining tonight, for practicing with me. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your evening and a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the class, for practicing. I hope you're feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit at peace. If you like, I'm going to write the mantra down in our email after I'm sending you the class. And try to repeat it as often as you can to really manifest it and manifest it also in your mind. And from here, I'm saying goodbye. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye bye. Ciao, Cristina.
Was it